just fabulous people, and I've been absolutely blessed to be amongst them and helpful with this organization. So, Charlie is coming up. He'll be up here in just a minute. So I'd say after, what have I done here? Yeah, it's been almost 7.5 years I've done this, and it's time. It's time. New blood. So Charlie has been the absolute driver of the whole organization. He's sort of like a recruiting sergeant. He's the guy that's got everybody to volunteer their service, and so he deserves to be the president. He'll do a great job. So, more than anything, we appreciate your participation here. We appreciate your support. It's been an absolute blast for me, and thank you so much for being here.
What Kirk didn't tell you is that the reason he's stepping away is he's interviewed and won the part for Doc Martin. He'll do a good job there. He won the part for Doc Martin. His favorite program. This has been an amazing time working with this guy the last 7 years, 7.5 years. And he's just a magnetic personality, and people love him, and he is good. And we're going to miss him, except he's not going to go far. He'll be back. We hope to come back regularly. We really do. Thank you for that. Now, he said, no. If I lose my breath, do I lose my turn? I'm going to ask our founder to come up for a moment, Mr. William Jackson.
Well, Kurt, you know, we run this place like the Army. You did one 3-year tour, and then you were very foolishly signed up for a second 3-year tour.
Volunteer.
And, well, you know, you could call it that, but we did kind of lead on to that. And you're about 1.5 years into a third tour, but then he's got something called a wife at home. And, where's Alan? Where's Alan? Where is she? There she is. Anyway, sir, thank you for saying that. We'd like to give you this whole memento here, sir. And it's yours. You may take that. And
It's very nice.
put it in a simple place.
I will.
And just remember, I still served 3 more months than you did.
I did not want to eclipse the great man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I go now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, as Kurt mentioned, we have a new board. We're looking forward to growing, expanding the group. You understand we're facing something called attrition because our favorite people, World War II veterans, are aging, so the pool is diminishing. And we're going to supplement that with speakers, historians, and we'll keep it going. One of the things that we did this past weekend, several of us here, I know Tom, Steve, a bunch of people went down to the D-Day Symposium in Gettysburg. It was amazing. They had 4 actually great speakers. We had Dr. Simmons from the Naval Academy, who went into depth on that. We also had George Colby, who is a writer, photographer. And we had missing. I was going to save her for last. Who was John McManus? Yes, the book I brought to have it signed, but I didn't stick to have it signed. John McManus wrote the book "The Dead and Those Who Will Be." Is that the right way? But it was very, very interesting. We also had Susan Eisenhower, who's the emeritus of the Eisenhower Institute. Consequently, during the discussion, Somebody in the audience asked George Colby if in all his interviews did he interview any German veterans, and he said, no, he said, I wish I would have now, but I didn't know how to get in touch with them. So after the meeting, I went up and introduced myself, and I said, we're beginning to work with two professors from the University of Delaware. You might remember them. They sent us a video of Hank Heim, two of them, and the ones I had from the old group, it was just too bad to use. He had them and gave them to us, and I think we had a great evening with Hank Heim 10 years past. What's the challenge with the...
This looks
So he wasn't challenged, and we had a very, very moving evening. Hank fell 3 weeks ago. He's in Messiah, and he broke his hip. And Connie Miller looks out after him. She called me, let me know. And she said, I think they're going to operate tonight and make him walk tomorrow. And they did. So he got up and he got around and he was walking around. And now that she called me 2 days ago and said, he fell again. So now he broke the other hip, but he doesn't know why his hip hurts. So that's a good thing. But when Hank was here, I had a poster made. You might remember the picture when he was an 18-year-old B-17 pilot. And the poster's in the lobby. And I get somebody to bring it down. What I'd like you to do, would you do that, Christian? Thank you. And there's should be extra pens out there. For those of you who are willing and able to do it, I'd like you afterwards to sign, and we'll make it a big birthday card for Hank, and in 5.5 weeks he'll be 98. Thank you, April 23rd. The article I read today was wrong, and I'll take your word for it. Okay. Then you would know it, yeah. So here's the poster, and that's when he first got his ticket, I guess. And if you people would like to come down and sign it, Christian's going to take it over to him, take Barb with you, and I'm sure he'll be surprised. We're going to put that down, though, because people will be able to be speakers. Thank you, Christian. Yes. Now we're to the main event. And I'm going to let one of our most industrious workers, partners, handle it from her. Her name is Laura Pasuelo. And we wouldn't be where we are today without Laura. And that's a fact. So don't go blush on me. But she does. She does so much for us. It's amazing. And she brought her boyfriend with her. Our speaker. Huh? I'll let it go from there. I'll let you do the introduction, go from there. Oh, do you want me to mention? Well, he did mention the fellow in your father's outfit. That's amazing. The fellow came up tonight and said, may I speak to the speaker? My father was in the Malmedy massacre, and he's right here. It's amazing. You see, Bill, I'm taking my time. All yours, Laura.
Story speak for itself as we do our little interview here. I like being behind the scenes, so I'm more nervous than the speaker tonight. And full disclosure, we have not rehearsed. I've gotten to know Harold he lives in Mountjoy, and I've gotten to know him by going down and having lunch, or he came up here to Lower Gotham High School's Day with the Veteran one day, and it's just been a blast getting to know him. And one little housekeeping item, you'll see that the sanctuary is decked out for our children's musical. So after Harold is finished, and with the Hank Heim poster, give us a couple minutes to take everything back to the narthex so we don't damage or rip or tear any of the props. Just give us a minute or two before everybody gets up. And you'll have plenty of time to chat with Harold in the narthex. We'll find him a seat and give him a bodyguard. Before we go any further, though, I want to introduce his nephew, who's sitting down here, Harold, grandson, I'm sorry, Joel. Harold always speaks really highly of Joel, and he will be the caretaker of all of Harold's things and carry the legacy on. So, my friend Harold Billow, welcome him. So, when did the story of Harold Billow begin? 19 what is your date of birth?
12/69/22.
So if you do the math, how old do you claim to be?
96.
And that's what you always say?
I usually always tell everybody, ask how old I am. I tell them 69. And some of them a lot of them catch on, a lot of them don't.
It's nice to have a sense of humor at 69, right? And you used to be 59, not long ago.
Yeah, it used to be 59. When I was 59, that's what I was told, 59.
And you were born and raised in Lancaster County?
I was born in Millersburg, PA.
Okay.
When I was about 8 years old, my parents moved to Mountjoy, and I've been here ever since.
All right. And do you remember at Mount Joy where you were when Pearl Harbor was attacked?
I was living with my parents at East Main Street, Mountjoy. That was on a Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was living with my parents in East Main Street, Mountjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do you remember what it was like, how you felt, and what neighbors were saying, and what the inevitable was going to be?
As young as I was at that time, I didn't really know what they were thinking about.
What to expect.
And what I was thinking about anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you end up in the service?
Well, I was drafted. And when I was drafted, before I got the letter, the guys got a letter in the mail, and it said, "Your friends and neighbors have chosen you for the armed forces of the United States." And I ain't talked to my damn neighbors since.
He really means that. And you have a brother who also served Harold, and I have forgotten. He's older or younger than you?
He's 3 years younger than me. He was in the Marines. He was down in all the islands. He was Tinian, Okinawa, and all that. Pearl Harbor. But as long as he was in, he never got a shot that wounded him.
Yep. And just the two of you and your family served.
Yeah, but it's just the two of them. My brother, he was in the Marines, and he served 3 years, and I, about the time I was in the Army, about 3 years.
So after you got your letter, and you were excited about that.
Yeah, I was so excited about that.
Did you show up at the train station in Mountjoy? How did you get from Mountjoy to the next place?
The guys that were drafted from Mountjoy at that time, we went to the train station. From there we went to Harrisburg, and then from there we went over to New Cumberland, and that's where we got all our uniforms and that. And then we shipped out from New Cumberland. Had no idea where we were going. I ended up at Camp Gruber, Oklahoma, one cold morning. And after we got assigned to our barracks, they took us to the mess hall, gave us breakfast. After breakfast, we went back to our barracks, and right from there on, we got our equipment. And what the outfit was the 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion. We were strictly all observation. We had no big guns at all. All we had was to carry a 30 caliber carbine. So, after we trained in Camp Gruber for quite a few months, then we went down to Camp Polk, Louisiana, down in the swamps of snakes. After we were there for a while, training, then we went back up to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. There we trained for a while. Then from Fort Sill, we went to Camp Shanks, New York. Got a boat, got in a big convoy, and headed for overseas. I had no idea where we were going. And by the way, most everybody in that 285th headquarters A and B batteries, we were all from the general area around Mountjoy, Elizabethtown, Greens, Stevens, Landisville, all of them. Some of the guys even lived next neighbors to each other at Stevens. And then, after that, we got on this boat. It was called the Mormac Moon. The next morning, I got up and I went up to the deck to see what it looked like, and as far as you could see in all directions, there was ships going in this big convoy. I forget how many days it took to us to get over to Cardiff, Wales. And then we went to Stockton, England, and we were in Stockton, England for a few weeks until we got our orders to go across the channel on LSTs. We didn't go over a D-Day. We went a couple months into, I think, August, when we went over. And we went up over Omaha Beach. That was quite a beach. But by the time we got there, we had a long ways to go till we got up to the front lines to set up our observation post. And what our observation post was flash and sound OPs. Flash would pick up the enemy gunfire, and sound pick up the sound. And they would, when they get the shots fired at them, they could shoot the figures and turn the figures back to our gun batteries, and they would return the fire to try and knock out the German guns.
So give me a chance here.
Go ahead.
Technical difficulties. I'm trying to move a screen forward, so I'm going to ask the really handsome guy in the back, the second most handsome guy in the room back there. It's my husband. Because obviously, ladies, you'd agree, this is the most handsome man in the room. Right. So, the Field Artillery Observation Battalion, that's what your unit was. And I'm going to back you up to Oklahoma. So what was the day's training involved? I mean, what were you personally doing?
Going out survey, we were a survey outfit, we would survey out a distance of where they wanted the observation post set up. And that's where they got the distance and
So just practicing and
just practicing every day.
Okay.
Practicing surveying, setting up OP and having guys on, observe the gunfire. Yeah.
So I have to stop you right there and ask, how do you think you avoided, I know I'm not military, so this is a civilian question, bear with me. It would have been just about the right size to be a gunner and a nose tucked down in the front. How'd you end up avoiding that?
Well, that
Air
was
Force.
there. I don't know.
Don't know.
That was where I was put in the observation battalion, 285th, and that's where I stayed from the beginning to the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you ended up in Normandy, and when was that?
44.
1944.
1944 is when,
In the fall.
yeah.
In the fall. And headed across Europe.
Yeah, then we had, like I said, we had a long ways to go after we went up over Omaha. We went up over Omaha, and we had a long ways to go till we got to the front to start setting up our operations. Then, after we'd gone and we'd be having observations set up, be there for several days or a week, and when the line would move up, then we resurvey and put the observation post at a different place. Then comes December 16th, 44. We got orders we were going to move. We were going to move out to a place called St. Vith. We never got there. On December the 16th, we stopped along the road, we had lunch. After lunch, we boarded up. The convoy started to move out, and the two guys from Stevens, they were neighbors to each other. This one guy name was Swartz. He told Ernie Bechtel, he said, Ernie, he said, something terrible is going to happen to us today. Ernie says, what are you talking about? Don't talk so dumb. He said, Ernie, I'm telling you, something terrible is going to happen to us today. Well, we started off in about 1 o'clock. Before we got to this crossroad, there was 5 roads that came together in Malmedy. And before we got up to that point, we passed 291st Engineer Battalion. That Engineer Battalion was, the guy that headed that was Colonel Pegman. Our convoy had stopped, and Colonel Pegman told Lieutenant Larry that was leading us that day that I wouldn't advise you to go that route, because he heard that the Germans at that time, you all know that Hitler was going to make his last move to win the war or else. And he got all his top bunch together to go in there and try to win the war. Well, Lieutenant Larry said, well, my orders are N23. That's the way we're going to go. Well, we started off, we didn't go too far, and a lot of the vehicles were already through the crossroad. This German Panzer Division was coming up from our left. They saw our vehicles going through the crossroad, and they were shooting them up. Of course, everything stopped. We didn't know what was going on. They kept firing up at our vehicles, blowing them off the road. And then, when they stopped, the Germans came back, got the guys from the vehicle, marched us up the roads with their hands up, put us in this field, And they searched us, took our watches and whatever valuable they wanted. But while this German column was coming up from our left, one of their tanks stopped right out in front of us. They set up 2 machine guns on top of the tank. Then a German officer pulled up in a command car, and he stood up, and that was Piper. He stood up, he took one shot one guy on the right side of me. Then he took another shot, and he shot another guy on the left side of me. Then he yelled something to the guy on top of the tank. And when he did, they opened up with their machine guns, spraying the field where all these guys were standing. There's about 150 of us. They kept raking back and forth with the machine guns trying to kill everybody because they were told they didn't have time to take any prisoners. And the German said to the officer, "What would you do?" And the officer said, "Boop, boop," and shoot him. So that's what he did. After the machine guns were done shooting, trying to kill everybody, then the Germans walked through the field, and anybody that showed signs of life, they point blank shoot them through the head, finish them off. They kept doing this for quite a while. They'd go kick the guy, roll him over, hit him with a rifle butt, and you wouldn't believe a lot of people said about this, is that cold, how do you keep from breathing and the steam coming out of your mouth? I'll tell you folks, I didn't hardly breathe much at all because I inhaled, and when I exhaled, it went out very slow because if they'd have saw it, they knew I was still alive, I'd still be over there. They kept this up for quite a while. Then it was going towards evening. And when I'm telling this story, every time I tell it, I can just see it as if it's happening right out in front of me, seeing that, what the Germans were doing. After a while, I can hear Jim Mateer from Marietta. I can hear him say, "Come on, guys, let's get out of here." And all those that were able to got up and took off back towards the way we were originally coming from. But at this crossroad, there was a house and a cafe. We ran into there. I did too. As soon as I got inside that door, I said right away to myself, "Well, them Germans up there saw us go in there. Somebody's going to come down and get us." I went out the door right away across the road to the hedge roads, and I started running down along the hedge roads, trying to keep out of the line of fire in case the machine guns would shoot at us again, which they did. And I looked down, I could see the dirt kicking up close to it, that's how close it came. Well, then what the Germans did, they went down and they poured gasoline around the house, and as everybody came out, they mowed them down. But the guys who were able to take off that day, there was about 20, maybe 25 that still weren't wounded too bad, but a lot of them were real bad. We were going back down through the field, and the 30th Infantry Division and the 291st Engineer Battalion, they were around that area. As we were running down, those guys would see us and they'd pick us up and take us back to the first aid station. Then it was getting pretty dark. Of course, when we all got into the first aid station, all of us got questioned and interviewed about what happened. You know, everybody told about the same thing. While I was laying there, I got stung in one foot, and I thought I could hit it. But at the first aid station, they asked me if I was hit. I said, "Yeah, I think I got in my one foot." I took my goulash off, and I heard something kind of rattle, and I turned it upside down. A metal slug fell out. That's as far as went into through my shoe at all. Then, after that, I think it was about the next day or so, I was on a train. And with all these guys wounded and on this train, and everybody had a tag on us. It was UK marked on the tag, and I could still hear that guy saying, "What's that UK stand for?" Some guy said, "That's the United Kingdom. We were heading back to England." Well, don't think we were glad to know we were getting out of there and going back to England. But after that happened there at the crossroad, the next day it really snowed, and all those bodies were covered with snow, and they were covered for about 2 months before they were able to get up and just find them. What they did then, they got up there, they had these mine detectors, swept up back over the field, they could pick the metal off the guy's body with helmets. They swept the snow off of them, put a tag on them, throw them up on a big truck, and then they were taken back to a heated building where they declothed them and they could check how they were killed, with small arms, shrapnel, or whatever. And after that, well, before that, what's your next question there? I'm getting too far ahead of myself here.
Give me a break for some water. Cliff, can you tab through manually back there so we can catch up?
Hey, I gotta get that. Those notes out.
No, just, I have them.
Yeah, but you don't have all
I
that.
have them on the screen. See behind us. So this is the crossroads that you were describing.
But I got some other notes and pictures I gotta have it.
You want to get them? Or you want to go bring them up?
Yeah, he can bring them up.
He can bring them up.
Bring it up.
Bring this up.
Bring it up, Joey.
So this scene here, I was with a group in 2017. We stopped here, and it's a museum now, the
Oh, yeah.
Crossroads Museum.
At the crossroads, those people in Belgium, they put up a museum. And then that museum was dedicated December 17th, 19th. I forget what year it was. But every year, December the 17th, they have a program at the museum all about the Malmedy massacre.
Yeah, so the museum has this diorama, so you can kind of see how the crossroads were coming together. And you'll see the cluster behind the trees there.
Yeah.
In the next screen, this is actually what the killing field was.
Now they're showing that killing field.
2017.
There was a doctor from E-Town that was over there some years ago at this place where all this took place. And he took pictures. He gave me an album of the pictures he took. Nice and green, all beautiful. Cows in the field.
Yeah, it is.
When this happened, there was nothing standing. Everything was blown to bits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the next, this actually is the inset photo of the diorama and then the farmhouse. So I'm not sure, you talked about running into the cafe. I'm not sure if the cafe is still standing though.
I don't know, but I got a picture here. There's what the cafe looks like. That's
That might be.
so all burnt down to.
You can go to the next one. So that's after the massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So that's what this.
On the background, you can see the building. It's all just a shell standing.
Yep. And this is what you were talking about.
Yeah.
They went in and tagged them.
Yeah, put a tag on, yeah. And I have a book with all the guys that there's a number tag on and who they are. There was a guy by the name of John Bauerman. He wrote a book about the Malmedy massacre. It's just about a thick book. but he has in there how each guy was shot with small arms, shot in the left. And he also has in there, he spent a couple of years going around every place looking to locate where these guys are buried. There are cemeteries overseas, in this country. He has all that in that book.
I think you can go to the next one. So let's go back to your story.
Yeah,
You were headed to England.
yeah, I was heading back to England.
R&R.
What?
For some R&R. And then what happened?
Well, when I got back to England, they put me with the 8th Air Force. That was just a time waiting to get shipped home. But every morning, they took us out to the hangars to work on planes. Well, I'll tell you, I had no idea about an airplane engine and the man in the moon. And when they gave me this patch with an airplane engine on, well, we were out there every day. They took us out. We stood around. A crew chief would say, "Take this off, do this, do that." The sergeant in charge, he says, one day, he said, "You know, guys," he says, "you're all fed up waiting to get shipped home." He said, "You want to take off and go back to the barracks and go into town for the rest of the day?" Well, a lot of us did. We had to go across the tarmac until the field was fenced in. And way over on one side, there was a big hole in the fence. That's where we went out through. We didn't go out through the main gate because they had forest. So I went into the city of Manchester, and after that, well, almost every night I'd go into Manchester for something to do. And this one night, these two gals came down the street. There was one of my buddies with me this night, and stopped to talk with him. And after that, why, we kept meeting each other for quite some time. And then, after some time went by, we got married, and you wouldn't believe it. But after the wedding ceremony was over, her mom says to me, "Harold, you know what?" Yeah, that's a good picture.
There it is.
Her mom said to me, "Harold, you know what?" She said, "December the 17th, 1944, you was captured by the Germans, and December 17th, 1945, you was captured by the Limeys."
So I deducted a year. I had 46. Sorry.
Yeah.
So he was married a year later.
Exactly a year later than that, yeah.
And then the process of, so you came home.
Yeah, now wait, I'm not going any further. I got
Wait.
something about the beach. Miles Robinson, he lived just a couple blocks from me at home, and he went up over on D-Day, and he looked down and saw this paper on the ground, and he picked it up. And it was a Mountjoy Bulletin newspaper. Mountjoy used to publish a weekly newspaper and send to all the guys that everybody was in the service. He picked it up and he said, everybody around and read everything from one end to the other in that book. Then another time, at Luxembourg, we were in this factory. Well, after we had our observation post set up, we usually had a place where we stayed that we were out of the elements, and always a half bombed out building or sometime. And at Lammersdorf, we were in this factory. It was about 2-3 stories high. So one day they said, "The guys want to go in to see a movie," so I went along in with, they hauled a whole bunch in. And after the movie was over, going out, some guy grabbed me by the arm and kind of swung me around and said, "Hey, aren't you from Mountjoy?" I said, "Miles Robinson." Well, yeah, he was in the tank outfit, and he had his tank parked outside. He came in his tank to watch the movie. Somebody said to him, he didn't talk much to him, no, he said, that's all they practically said to each other. He left, took off, and I never saw him after that. Until after we got home and discharged, then we got to see each other quite often. He made it through, but up until the time he passed away, he had shrapnel in it that he never took out.
So they're in the middle of Luxembourg.
What's that?
They're in the middle of Luxembourg, somebody in a tank from the same hometown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. My house was just Albert, well, you know where I live. He was just out less than a quarter mile.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And by the way, I forgot, that's why I brought these people to know. Sketch Merrick from Merrick, he was our cook. And even in the States, when we go in the chow line, when I'd go through, he'd always make sure I got a little extra. He never, always. And over there, the day of this massacre, he was hiding in the bushes. And he was confused. He was up there around that area for a couple of days before he managed to get back to our own troops. A German walked by him with a dog, and this dog started to sniff at him, and he didn't move. And the German, he said, pulled the dog away. If he'd have moved, he'd still be over there too. Yeah, so. Well, yeah, while we were at Malmedy there at Limer store, some of the guys were complaining that we didn't have any fresh meat for a while. So Sketch said, well, out there at the farm, there's animals running around. Go out and get some. I don't know what they got anymore, but Sketch knew how to butcher. And he brought it back in. There was an elevator in this building. They strung the old animal up in the elevator, and Sketch butchered him, everything down the elevator shaft. We had fresh meat for a while, I don't know how long, but that was in winter. It was cold, so it didn't spoil, but we had fresh meat for a while.
I bet that was good.
Yeah.
So you do remember it was cold, it was
Yeah, it was
snowy,
cold.
It was,
Right after that, they said they had one of the worst winters and snow that they ever had over there. All those bodies were covered up with overfood. Even the vehicle couldn't hardly move around because of the deep snow. And like I said, they went up there and they finally found the bodies, sweeping the snow off of them, put them a tag on them, and throwing them up in a truck. Yeah. Now, somebody asked me about what these rivers, I don't know what them rivers are, but in the one book it tells me what they were for, so I brought up. The one was for the Rhineland campaign, another one was for the Ardennes campaign, and the other one the Germany campaign. That was the ones that they represented. So after I was in England there for a while, I got shipped home. When I got home, I got back to my old job at the Malmedy paper box factory. I worked there for about 11 years. And then I went to the shoe factory in Mountjoy for a couple months. I didn't like that, so I went to Amp Incorporated. It isn't Amp anymore. It's Tyco, and it's not Tyco anymore. I forget what the name is.
but when you came home,
Yeah.
you couldn't bring your wife home right away,
No,
right?
my wife didn't come home with me. She came a couple months later.
So it took a while.
Yeah, it
She
took a
came on a ship with a
With
lot of other war
A lot of
brides.
other war brides, yeah.
And she loved American tea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I drink a lot of it to this day. Yeah. Yeah, her mom and dad had a fish and chip shop over there. And I got to eat a lot of fish and chips. And when you got them at the shop, so they wrapped it in newspaper. Just like they do here. You ever go to some places around, down around Lancaster, where you get fish and chips, they have wrapping, but it's artificial, it's not actual newspaper. Yeah.
So when you went to AMP, would you say you were using some of the skills you learned in the Army? Or
No.
Completely new.
Everything new. AMP didn't have anything that nothing that I was doing when I was in the service, no.
And you retired from AMP after how many
I
years?
retired from AMP after 34 years. And at that time, as you all know, a lot of the places were downsizing, giving bonuses and that. They gave me a good bonus. They gave me a good bonus to get rid of it. I got $22,000 for them to get rid of me.
So you've been retired how long? How long have you
I've been retired since 1987. And I've enjoyed it ever since. I just had one job since that, and that was working at the Mount Joy swimming pool. All I did there was mowed all their lawn and trimmed their bushes. When I mowed, it took me about 6 hours. They had a couple acres of grass to mow and bushes to trim. I'd done all that for 14 years. Now the pool's been closed for almost 2 years. They went bankrupt. They can't afford to run it anymore. But, yeah.
And let's go back to Germany, and I think let's got to go back a screen, another one, go backwards.
Yeah, with that.
Let's talk about what happened to the Panzer Division guys.
All those Panzer Division guys, they were all up for trial. I didn't get to go over with them. Some of the guys went over, but I never got to go over. But I think you all know after they were tried, after some time while they were all released, let go.
Yep.
That was at McCarthy from Washington, D.C., that politician.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh. At one of the VFW meetings, when I was at once a month for years back at Millersville, a guy brought an article in and showed me. I don't know what, if it was in a magazine or newspaper, but this guy gave it to me. I got it at home. And on there, this guy says he was up there at Malmedy, where this was supposed to happen. And he says, in that article, he says, you tell that Mary and Billow that that never happened. But the same thing with the Holocaust. There's people said, that never happened. There's still some people around. Well, by the way, folks, out of that massacre, they killed 87 people. And the people at Malmedy there put up a memorial wall. And on that memorial wall, they have the 87 names of all the guys that were killed in that field that day. I used to, yeah, there's a picture of that wall, yeah. On that wall, there's 87 names, and
Each of those darker square blocks has the name of a...
names of each one. And one of them was Chas Haynes. He's down in this right head, down in this corner here. He lived about a mile from me. Yeah. So, yeah. I used to put up in my front yard 4 times a year: Memorial Day, July 4th, Flag Day, and Veterans Day. 87 names. Yeah, that's what my front yard looks like. Yeah.
So you'll see that's Memorial Day weekend
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Memorial Day weekend and Veterans Day, I'll put them up, 87 of them.
And I have to tell you, I was down there to take this picture. First of all, people have offered to help put these up.
Yeah.
And your answer, even at age 96, is...
Yeah. But now, I got a lovely lady said she's gonna come down and help me.
This is in precision,
You still gonna come down? Okay, I'll tell you. I usually put them up about a week before, and then I leave them up until a week after. And of course, if nobody has to help me take them down, it's easy to pull out. But the way I've been doing it, and there might be some easier way, I drive an iron rod down there, and I have the iron rod marked, and each one's down so far. I'm going to pull the rod out, and then I put the flag down. No way you can stick any flags down in that ground without. And every one of them is 36 inches apart. No matter which way you look, you can see they're straight road.
Since you've mentioned lovely ladies, can you back that up?
Oh,
The
hi, Mike.
man is a chick magnet. So our new board member, Mike Roy, arranged a big outing out of Fort Union Town Gap for Harold.
He made
And
it.
you can back that up one more.
No, see that. Oh, okay, yeah.
Mike thought that this is what would impress Harold. Put him in a Black Hawk, put a helmet on him, got to meet General Sorelli.
Simulator helicopter.
And what do you think Harold's highlight was? Just move that.
Yeah, Mike arranged that tour that day for Laura and I'll tell you, Mike, that was a great day. I met everybody from General Sorelli on down, all the top friends. The colonel that showed her from one place to the other, was the colonel that showed her
Yes.
from one place to the other. And at the end, we got to Corelli's office where I signed that book, The Fatal Crossroads. And then Mike said, well, we're going to have lunch. So we went to have lunch, and I was sitting alongside of the waitress and she took her order, and then Mike says to her, go back and get the rest of them. So she went back, and she came front. She had 6 more waitresses there to surround her.
And Harold was, oh, I can't get up and do this. I can't. So back up about 4 more screens. So back up again. Here's a book that was written in 2013 by Danny Parker.
Danny Parker.
Right.
And that is an excellent book. Danny Parker The Fatal Crossroads by Danny Parker. I've signed autographed hundreds of them. People get them and come to my house with them. One guy came there, he had 6 of them there. He bought for his relatives, brothers and sisters. But I signed hundreds of them books with him. Yeah.
So Harold comes fairly regularly to meetings, so if you have that book at home and you didn't bring it tonight, you know, he's easy to spot in the crowd. Just look for the cluster of women. Feel free to bring a book, he's happy to sign. And after life started to get crazy and you started to take your story on the road, you've been to World War II weekend.
Oh, yeah.
You've been here
And,
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and Reading Air Show several times.
Every VFW in Lancaster County.
Charlie took me back to Allentown one time.
Yeah.
And a VFW meeting in Columbia, PA, one Veterans Day. That was a packed house.
You've been the parade Grand Marshal on a couple
Yeah,
parades.
Grand Marshal a number of years ago. Every Memorial Day, Mount Joy had a Memorial Day parade. And each year we have about 6 or 7 vehicles, Jeeps, 3/4-ton weapon carriers. In the last 2-3 years, a guy brings his half-track up, and we prayed for that. And after the parade's over, well, before the parade's over, we head down below Mount Joy to get ice cream. He loads a half-track up. He lives in Long Level, but he has a flatbed truck that he brings it up. He wouldn't bring it up that far. I'm just on the.
And You were also the honored guest at a 28th Infantry Division dinner not too long ago. And they picked you up in a limo.
All that was when I was up to the Civil War Museum in Harrisburg.
Black tie.
Corelli was there, and it was him and his wife, and I sat at the table with them. They had me up there as a guest speaker at the Civil War Museum, but I was some night too. And I'll never forget that. But when first we were in there, all these guys in their nice blue uniforms, and Mike, I often wanted to, if I get to see General Corelli, I'm going to ask you, hey, do you think you could arrange to get them to make me a uniform like that? They're nice, aren't they?
So, as you surmised, Harold's not just your, he didn't come home to the title of World War II veteran. If you go do a Google search on Harold Billow, you will get 5 scrolling pages of photos.
Yeah.
He is a Google icon.
My grandson, he puts a lot on, don't you? Yeah.
And Harold brought a couple things home from the war.
Oh, wait a minute. No, don't. Not yet.
I told you we didn't practice. Besides his wife.
Over at Gettysburg and Eisenhower Museum, I was over there one time. They gave my talk along with Severin Fairman, a Polish guy. That him and his whole family survived all the concentration camps. After the war was over, they found each other, and he came over and he started that Baldwin brass factory in Reading. He's a big millionaire. He's passed away a number of years ago. I met him, I heard him tell his story several times.
Yeah. Well, that's one. Severin has been a speaker here, and he's been at World War II Roundtable, and sadly we lost him about 3 years ago. Great speaker.
I heard him give his story. He wrote a book too. My grandson, he got the book, and I don't know why I didn't get one from that day, but Severin had a real good story. Yeah.
Now.
No? Yeah. This is a picture of
The field.
field where,
Yeah, we have that.
yeah, you have
We
that.
have that up there.
And then there's a picture on the other side where it shows that German shooting one guy on the right side of him. And by the way, there was a medic alongside of me fixing a guy up, standing there. And after he had him fixed up, he shot him both in the head to finish him off. Yeah, they showed up.
The field. Yeah.
You can't see it, but this is a picture of the wall that the people in Malmedy put up. And every day or that, they keep that place spick and span. That wall is at the same place where that took place.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. How much? Oh, well, I showed you. I just bought this one. You saw that in the picture. That's a front yard with all the flags in it. Where's that sword? That sword in here?
Oops.
There's a German sword. Now, I didn't get to steal that. My buddy from Lidditz, Sketch, he felt sorry for me because I got out of there, and after the war was over, the guys could go in anybody's house or any place at all and steal and take anything.
So he gave it to you?
So he gave it to me
Wow.
because I wasn't there to get anything.
Wow. Or he didn't think you got anything.
Now,
It's Mike.
can we stretch?
Yeah, we'll get Mike up here.
Mike? And,
you're gonna tell the story of how this happened.
yeah, Joe wants, my grandson wants to have it on his camera, a picture of,
Here, you
Oh,
tell
no.
the story. I've got this.
oh, yeah, this way. Keep that up.
Yep.
Yeah, stretch it out. Sketch gave me that too. But I tell her, how I did get it was, there was some Germans standing in front of this building. I had a hand grenade. I tossed that hand grenade right at them, and that wiped them out. And I got the flag, but that's not true.
He thought the day of the presentation was Monday, April 1st, so that's ridiculous.
You betcha I feel. Ever since I had it, it's been a box with mothballs. It wouldn't have any mothballs. Same way with my uniform. This uniform I got on is what I was discharged in back at Indian Town Gap.
Our treasury is always very robust, and we go through and pick organizations to donate money to. One of those organizations is called Quilts of Valor. Harold is a recipient, and we noticed in January.
There's a patch I didn't know was on there until one time Laura was down there with that lady from Lebanon, and she wanted to see the quilt. I turned her over, she saw it, pointed it out to me. That was the first, I had it for a long time before I noticed that patch that said there, Malmedy Massacre, December 17th, 1944. Now what, there's one on the other side too. There's one on the other side. Oh, hey, down here it is.
Yep. It's their patch that they sew on, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one says Quilt of Valor, presented to Harold Billow, Battery B, 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion, survivor of the Malmedy Massacre. Presentation, November 10th, 2017, Donegal High School, Mountjoy, PA. Quilt created and quilted by Susan, how do you pronounce that name? I can't. Susan
Osier?
Yeah.
Frida?
They presented me that at the Donegal High School, always has a Veterans Day program, and that's what they.
Hold up the other side again, maybe.
Yep, it's actually, should be vertical like this, I think. Yeah. So right here's the, like, personal square. But the round table donated last year to Quilts of Valor to the organization, so you can see the kind of beautiful work they do and distribute. So, closing comments, Harold. Have we left out anything?
What?
Have we left out anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, I was looking at my notes, but I could.
All right, don't go anywhere. We're looking at notes.
Yeah. I just want to check to see if.
Which way are we going? This one.
While he's checking his notes, that's a fantastic organization. They presented my husband one for his Vietnam service, and it's really great, valuable service.
Yeah, we didn't rehearse. What else you got?
just got a couple books that are real good about this Malmedy massacre. And I told you the one was The Malmedy Massacre by John Bowyer. He's the one that went around for years checking where everybody was buried, and he found them. And in that book, he also has about how they were killed and where they were buried. Some are still overseas, never were brought home. And then one you showed up there now, Fatal Crossroads by Danny Parker, that's a next one. You know, some books that these guys write, they start writing them and then they make and put in what they imagine and how it happened. A lot of that stuff is fake. Oh, by the way, one time somebody called me and said, hey, the Battle of the Balls and Malmedy Massacre is on TV. So I turned it on, I started watching. I didn't watch it for a couple of minutes and I shut it off. What they showed was an army truck with two guys in the back, and after a while they threw the tarp up on the back of the thing, and they had the machine guns shooting into the field. That was so fake, I said, that guy should have dropped dead before he ever made anything like that. That was all false. And then there's another one that's called The Dead and Those About to Die, John C. McManus. That was a good one. And then I just got one the other couple of weeks ago from a guy. He said he saw it on what do you call it?
I think he just ordered it online and he sent it to you, didn't he?
Yeah, he sent it to me.
Yeah.
It says the unit history of the 285th Field Artillery Observation Battalion. Master Sergeant Walt Cross wrote it, a U.S. Army retired. Forward by Leon Scarborough. That is, I'll tell you when I read that, that described almost everything from the day we got started in Camp Crew, Oklahoma, the whole way through to the end. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you said
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think I got.
And one last point, Harold has never had the chance to go back.
No.
He's had the chance.
I had the chance to go back, but I didn't think I could make it. I told people, I think I would have brought me home in a box.
Didn't come home in a box the first time, so he said he could not go back.
Oh, yeah, and as long as I was over there, I tell people, I never dug a box full as long as I was over there. Never. We always managed to have a half bombed outdoor, something half decent to get out of the weather. And one time we were at one of them big, what do you call them, big pill boxes, a big round thing. Pill box. Yeah, bunker. We didn't want that.
He's lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah.
So are you willing to take some questions?
When my 91st birthday was, you should have seen it at my place. How about it, Joel? I don't know who arranged it, but one day my son said, we're going to come over to your place for lunch Saturday. I said, okay, that's all we said. They come over, they had lunch, and everybody was just about done. Cheryl, the daughter-in-law, she says, it sounds like sirens. We went out the front door and looked out. Here comes a fire truck down the street. Siren blowing, lights flashing. And in the back of the fire truck, there was 2 columns of motorcycles. 85 of them. Most of them were all veterans. They came down and celebrated my 91st birthday. Well, I don't see anything I missed that I really want to tell. Yeah.
convention thought he got rid of me. The thing I enjoy most in saying thank you to our speakers is rewarding them. Now, you've got a lot of awards in your life. In fact, the last time you were here, you got an award, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was it?
Cup.
A cup. Well, he asked me today, am I going to get another mug? And I said, no. However, Harold, because I know that you use your mug and probably leave stains on the table, here's a magnificent World War II round table tribute to put it on. You're welcome. Thank you. You want to do questions now?
Yeah, maybe we should put
All
a
right,
time.
you take over then.
I will put this on the wall from you.
Can you take some questions?
Yeah. Hey, if any of you come to see my place inside, how about it? There's hardly a place to put anything anymore.
Well, the first thing you notice when you walk in is the number of calendars of pinup girls. Let's be honest.
I have to tell you, when I was at Eisenhower Museum, the guy that took me over there that day, when we were on our way home, I had my uniform on, naturally. On the way home, I said to him, I said, Barry, I said, we ought to stop and get something to eat, I'm hungry. That's all I said. After a while, short time later, he pulled into the place. We started going in and seen this sign of Hooters.
Let's do questions here, so we have the microphones. And then we'll ask everybody to give us a minute so we can get out there so we can save the props. Questions?
Yes, the two men that you talked about at the beginning of your story, when you said today's going to be a bad day, what happened to those two men?
They both were shot that day. They're still over there. I got the book in what cemetery they're in, but they're still over there. Yeah, they were neighbors with each other. And the guy that Schwartz talked to, he lived close by. He knew it. Oh, think about that third guy. Gotta tell you this, like this. When Ernie died, there was 5 or 6 of us went to his funeral. And when we were there at the funeral home, we were standing there looking at him, sketch from Merrick from Lewis. Ernie he was a good guy, but he wasn't as clean looking guy as the rest of us was. Sketch says, you know what, guys? He says, that's the cleanest he ever looked. Yeah, Sketch says, you know what, guys? He says, that's the cleanest he ever looked.
We can't hear you.
Sir?
So everybody can hear.
Okay.
I couldn't help but notice that you talked about individuals in your unit with German American names. You come from a somewhat German community. And, of course, what happened to you over in Germany. What feelings did you have about Germans, the German army, as a result of this experience?
Well, after that happened, our guys and I would have done the same. If they found out what happened to it. When they got hold of German prisoners, they took them back. Didn't take them far, so that was the end of it. The way I felt, I'd have done the same thing. To this day, I told people already, if they bring in 150 German soldiers flying up there and give me a machine gun, I could blow them down with baby a bit.
How do you feel the way that should he have gotten off so light? I understand the men under him would have to do what he was ordered, but he ordered the execution. And he got, what, 6 years in jail and went off and had a job? Somebody finally killed him. Sounds like a good idea, but what do you feel about that?
Well, they should have got rid of him. Something should have happened to him, I feel. That something should have happened to him long before that. Yeah.
How you doing, Howard? I don't know if you received my calendar. Did you get one of these?
Yeah.
Like those pretty girls, huh? Okay, so I gave you a gift already. I appreciate it. My question is rather serious in one respect. I want to know what really did go through your head at those last moments. You must have been absolutely terrified. Just explain a little bit what went through your mind in those last moments.
At last, I just kept thinking, all I could think of is, I hope I can survive this, and I can get back to tell people what they did to us. But like I said, there's a few other guys which they will get back and tell us, but that's the way
And he has said over and over, and his grandson echoed this before the meeting started, I'm not doing this again. This is my last time. This is my last time.
Yeah, I think this is going to be my last time, because it's getting there. If I don't take it just a few notes out, but I do manage, I can get out the main thing that happened the way we come up to that crossroad, and we got captured and put in the field, and how that all happened. I can just see it happening now. And
So next year, next December, it'll be 75 years.
it's 75 years now. Yeah, 75 years that happened, and I often think about it. I can see it happening right now. And before I get to go anyway, like tonight, a day or two before, I can't sleep at night. All I think of, am I going to be able to say all what I want to say? And so I won't sleep tonight. I'll probably be up till 1, 2 o'clock.
Which Panzer division was it that did this?
Oh, I don't know. That I can't tonight. I don't know which, it was a Panzer division, but I can't tell you which one it was.
First SS Leibstandarte, and the officer was Lieutenant Colonel John Pipe. And officer first.
If 87 were killed, how many survived?
Well, I did. There's about 20 of us might have been able to get up and get out of there, but they didn't last too long. Some of them did get back home, but they're all gone. Out of all the guys in headquarters, A and B battery that I knew, it was only B battery who got captured that day. The other headquarters in A battery or someplace else on the line, but yeah.
I think you want one over here, Kurt.
Is that? Oh.
A couple here.
Mr. Billow, what did your wife think of Mountjoy, and how long did your marriage last?
What's that?
What did your wife think of Mountjoy, and how long were you married?
We were married 65 years, and she liked Mountjoy. She never complained that she wanted to go back, but she did go back several times. Her parents both died, and when her mom died, she went back with my daughter when she was just little. And then when she came home, she said about her dad, he won't last long. Wasn't long after he passed away, then she went back again, and I never went with him. But we did go over in 1989 to visit, not to visit them, of course they were both gone, but we went over, we had a great time going to, from London up to, she was outside of city of Manchester, a place called Oldham, and she never said anything about getting homesick, and she enjoyed being here, and she got along. She was a good seamstress. Boy, she made stuff. She made me a sports jacket one time. Anytime I needed something done to my clothing, she could take it and fix it up right away. We'd go shopping. She'd see a blouse or a dress in the store that's on sale. She liked it, but something didn't suit her at it. She'd get it, take it home, and after we were home for a little while, she was tearing it all apart, ripping it all apart, redoing it the way she wanted it. She done that one time after the other.
Laura, we have a young man over here that would like to ask a question. I don't know what it is, but if he's that young, brave enough to raise his hand, I'm going to give him the opportunity to ask. He's right here.
Okay. My name is Ryan, and I have a question for you. What specifically happened in the Rhineland campaign?
What was going on in his mind? What was going on?
I can't I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
That's so long ago, I'll tell you, I can't remember.
Can't remember.
I mean, that good.
Well, we got,
We have another one.
Catherine.
we got two. We got Catherine over there.
Oh, Richard.
Richard.
What I have to say is, you talked of being in St. Vic on December 17. And well, I have to tell you, I eliminated the railroad at St. Vic on Christmas Day. I have pictures in my logbook of how we destroyed the Panzer Division that was there at that time. Thought I'd let you know.
If I can add to that, that's Flight
I think
Lieutenant
I'm
Richard
connecting this right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Richard, was
Wait a
it?
minute.
Mr. Bowman.
I gotta tell you, when I was with the 8th Air Force in England, in Warrington, the war was over. And for months, all we did was the planes would come in up the runway, park, crews would get on them and tear them apart, bust everything to pieces on them. They didn't want anybody to get any parts to use anytime. That's all I did. Crews would tear the planes apart. Guys would get up in the cockpit with a hammer, and you know how many instruments are on a plane and on the cockpit. They'd bust everything. They took the propellers off of the planes, like in them days we almost all. They'd take a hammer and smash a shaft that they were on. That's all we did. We had out in the field piles and piles of busted up plane parts. And one day they brought 2 crates in there. We opened them up, and there was a P-38 and P-47, brand new, never flown. Crews got on them, tore them all apart, busted them up.
So, do I have this right? So, for those of you who have been here, Richard Boyd flew Lancaster bombers, RAF, and he's been a speaker here. So, did he strafe SS Panzer divisions in St. Vic shortly after Malmedy? It's a small world.
Actually, I was with the Royal Air Force Bomber Command. I flew Lancaster bombers. And it was Christmas Day that we were told to, or scheduled to go to St. Vic because the French had advised there was a Panzer division unloading in the marshalling yards there. So we went, but we eliminated the marshalling yards, plus I think St. Vic. But we were told it was very successful. And in my logbook, I actually have pictures, target pictures, of hitting the railroad yards. I thought you might be interested.
Amazing.
If I might add,
Tell him that same business where we were supposed to be going that day, and we never got there. We got as far as that crossroads and never got the same thing. And
Harold, if I might add to that question,
what?
over here,
Yes.
the fellow that just spoke also earned the Distinguished Flying Cross. Richard Billow.
Let's,
One more, please.
one more. One more.
Harold, what became of the bullet that was in your boot?
I can't hear.
What became of the bullet that was in your boot?
The guy that interviewed me was Hal Boyle, like from Philadelphia paper. I like a dummy gave it to him. I should have kept it.
It's on eBay if you want.
One last question.
One more.
Your unit, the Field Artillery Observation Battalion, today that's a vital unit. It's what we call counter battery fire. Now, the technology in World War II was pretty primitive. You would have had to be pretty far forward to catch the sound and the flash of the guns. How far back of the lines were you? You wear a patch from the 1st Army. That means your unit was at the highest level of the command that was fighting in the Battle of Bulge.
We were up real close, that's all I can tell you. So that's we had this instrument set up, we got back, but we were back, we could see the guns firing. That's how close we were.
All right.